Hey, yo out there to all my big brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, and, of course, mommies and daddies. So, a while ago, I had a poll up over on my DeviantArt asking my watchers what they wanted to see me draw next. And I've gotta say, I am pretty happy with the choice you guys made. And, by the way, this is where I plug my DeviantArt and Twitter. Go follow me. I have always adored the My Little Pony franchise, even as a little kid. I had so many of those little Gen 3 ponies. Pinkie Pie was my favorite, and she still is, honestly. But when Friendship is Magic came out, I was pretty averse, I guess. I was trying to go for a more masculine look for myself, since at the time it was airing, I was going through puberty, and with my scrawny-ass high-pitched voice and inability to grow a single fucking facial hair, sorry, I was realizing that the highest level of manliness I was probably ever gonna reach was Honey Senpai from Ouran High School Host Club. I didn't want to add anything to that look, but damn if I don't regret it, because that show slaps. I wound up watching it a lot more when I was in my last year of high school and going into college, and honestly, okay, I don't want to sound like a freak, but it made me feel a lot better about myself in some ways. It's a really good show, and I'm glad kids got to have that while they needed it growing up. But, what the fuck is up with those Equestria girl designs? I mean, I can jive with not making all of the main 6 white girls with anime hair. But the purple and blue and tiefling rainbow of skin tones is just kind of off-putting. And not to mention that the fashion on the girls is pretty lacking, in my opinion. They wear stuff that doesn't really suit their personalities past their main character trope of nerdy or sporty, and the outfits just really went downhill for me after the first movie special. But, can I just say, Sunset Shimmer, I love you, you're doing great, sweetie, you should be an Alicorn princess. With the franchise about to pick back up again with a new generation movie on the way, I figured, well, shucks. What better time is there than now to give these girls better human designs? Now, these aren't going to be so much redesigns or fixing as much as they are reimaginings. But I want to at least try to get some ideas that I at least personally like out there. I don't want to play favorites with this, so I'm just going to choose a girl at random. And the wheel to side says Fluttershy. Also, I'll apologize in advance for my borked style of sketching, but let's just jump into it. With this series, I really wanted to convey each girl's character through their pose and their look. So, right here, I'm gonna try and come up with a cute and more reserved pose for Fluttershy. It took me a try or two, but we get there, don't worry. My first big design choice that I knew for a fact I wanted when going into this project was Fluttershy's body type. I hated how every character in Equestria Girls all have the same general shape and weight. If we're giving lessons of acceptance, friendship, and love, I think that we should have all sorts of sizes and builds. I also just always headcanon Shy in a human form as a lot softer than, say, Applejack or Dash would be. I think it matches how gentle and lovely her voice and personality are. Also, this is just a little bit self-indulgent because I've always loved drawing bigger body types. Fat, muscle, broad bones. It's just so much fun to play around with body shape to me. And here's a controversial opinion of mine. Hands are my absolute favorite thing to draw. They're sort of like a second face of a character, if that makes any sense. They can be so expressive, from their size to how many scars they have to the size of the fingernails and how long they are. You can tell so much about a character just from their hands. The same goes for toes and feet, in my opinion. But even here, I wasn't entirely happy with how the hand came out. Let that go to show that no matter how long you've been doing something, you're rarely ever gonna get something on the first try. Just keep at it. What I decided for her final hand pose was this little finger heart thing that I see a lot on Instagram. I think it's like a K-pop thing, but I'm not really sure. That stuff was never really my speed, but I'm sure Fluttershy probably listens to it a bit. I bet she likes, what's that one group? Mamamoo or Blackpink? A friend of mine in college tried helping me find a group that I liked, but I don't think I could ever be a Jungkook stan or whatever. When it comes to Fluttershy's hair, I know I wanted to do something a little bit different from just having it all down in her face. I like to believe that this Fluttershy, at least that I'm drawing, is probably a high school graduate who volunteers or generally works with a lot of animal shelters and sanctuaries around where she lives. I live on a ranch myself, and as someone who had long hair during his emo phase, know from personal experience that long hair and animals do not mix. Goats and horses try eating it, hay and dust gets all tangled in it, it's always in the way when you reach into chicken coops, and it gets caught in gates and on stable hooks. It just makes for an overall unsafe environment. So with Fluttershy, I wanted to keep the classic swoop of her pony design, but I wanted to keep the majority of her hair up and out of the way. To do that, I decided to take inspiration from the final episode with her older age hairstyle. A cute looking ponytail with a butterfly wing reminiscent design and butterfly hair tie. I think that's a good way to go. Hey, maybe this universe's Discord gave it to her. Who knows? Now, something you'll notice off to the side is that I have a little mood board in my reference window. A main desire of mine in these designs was to give them what I find to be better personal style. So with this project, I went and filled entire folders with mood boards and aesthetic pages and pictures and reference for every girl. In Shy's case, I figured that she would probably really be into the whole cottagecore aesthetic. Because of that, I wanted to try and incorporate at least my vision of that into her outfit. I think this peasant blouse with the poofy sleeve is a good start for what I'm looking for. I decided to combine it with this roughly cute type of sundress since it seems like something she would wear in my opinion. Lightweight and easy to move around in, while still being cute and a bit more reserved. I can totally see Shy as the type to wear those like maxi dresses with flip-flops too, but a dress like that would be a little bit cumbersome when it comes to keeping up with bunnies and dogs and birds and whatever other animal she's helping rehabilitate. One thing I hate about when people redesign or humanize characters from shows and stuff is the tendency some people have to sexualize them, even if accidentally. Especially when it comes to bigger characters. Like, there's no shame in not knowing how to draw or still learning how to draw fat characters. But no, Janice, this girl having huge thighs and tits does not mean she's plus-sized. That's sexualized. And in itself, like, if you want to draw a sexy character, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just kinda squicky to me, most fantabulously when it comes to kids' media. So that's at least one thing that I want to make sure I keep away from with a 10-meter pole while I work on these. So for her shoes here. While I love these sandals that the OG Equestria girl Fluttershy is rocking, I don't think they entirely fit her whole vibe. The butterfly design is great, but I'm not that big of a fan of the ballet slipper ribbons going up her legs. I think that they're, like, a little bit too flashy for her character to use as everyday wear. But I do still want her to have sandals, and I do like the sort of, like, gladiator style, but I think something a little bit more understated would work better for her. So, after I'm done blocking out the tootsies and giving her a fucking Cro-Magnon big toe that I never went back and fixed, I'm gonna give her a nice, simple pair of slip-ons slightly based off of a pair that I used to own. Finally, I wanted to give her a really simple little side purse. It has little windows on the front like an eat-a bag, and I imagine that she has all sorts of little necessities in it. Definitely a miniature first aid kit, and probably some veggies and snacks to give any critters she might meet. Alrighty! Now that our girl is all lined up, we can head on to the color. For her palette, I wanted to keep it pretty similar to her pony design. She should still be recognizable even as a human, you know? So the design, by and large, is comprised of yellows, pinks, and blues. Her skin tone is really the main difference. I wanted her to have a nice warm peachy hue to complement her overall palette. Definitely no more jaundiced yellow flesh. Since I'm not usually talking about the art that's going on in the background, I reckon I can go ahead and explain my general process here. I usually lay down the base color before I go in to add some texture. I like to add a bit of roughness to the cheeks, neck, upper arm, and thigh areas as a sort of skin texture. If the character is wearing a lot of makeup or is like a clown with full grease paint, I'll skip that. Then I'll add blush to those areas too, as well as the elbows, knuckles, toes, and knees. Finally, I go in with some highlights. I repeat this process for the most part with the other elements, along with adding a little bit of detail along her skirt with little butterflies. And that's her finished Fluttershy. What do you think of her? I am really happy with how she turned out. I think she looks soft and inviting, just like I hoped she would. I'd definitely give her a hug and tell her that she's doing a great job. Let me know down in the comments below who you want me to design next. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want. You don't have to, but I'll give you many a smoochie if you do. And hey, I'll get to see you in the next video. I hope you have a scrabdangulous day. Later, skater. God, I swallowed it. Oh, I swallowed the wrong.